we should continue because we have another slide bringing up your thoughts around treatments outside or inside the tent. So now we're a little bit into that. So what are your thoughts on treatments? Should we stay inside or outside?
Hi there, my name is Jamie Gayer. I'm from Cambridge University and also Monash University. I'm a physiotherapist by training, but I've also got a little bit of an interest in following these animal models of tendon overuse. And the main point that I'd like to make in these animal models and trying to address the question of whether we can translate these findings into a human situation is that when I look at a lot of the animal models, I see that the loading induces a plastic change in the tendon. And so that means that the tendon after it's been loaded is longer than its original state. And when that happens, we often see an increase in inflammatory markers and inflammatory cytokines. But my question is, does that ever happen in vivo in a human, or does muscle fatigue prevent overloading of the tendon beyond a certain point? Whereas these animal models where we're going from 800 or several thousand cycles of loading that lead to a plastic change in the tendon, I question whether that ever happens in human.
I think the issues of animal to human translation in tendinopathy are very high and probably one of the most difficult tissues to examine at an animal model and then extrapolate to humans. And
Hans Schäfer from the Netherlands University of Groningen. It's funny and striking to see that we are discussing about for some 20 minutes about what is tendinopathy. We are here with 200 of the smartest people who think they know everything about tendinopathy. But I want to make a general remark. How can we get it over the counter to governments and insurance companies if we want to get money for our research and we don't even know as this group of people what tendinopathy is. So going back to the start of the discussion, I think it's very important that we come up with some kind of definition and also a description of the extent of this huge problem we all deal with.
I think that's very valid. If anybody wants to put their hand up to be the organiser of a paper on that, and people want to volunteer for that, it would be a really, really good start for us, I think.
I just wanted to respond to the request for basic science input, although I am totally not qualified to talk about information at all. As a mechanical engineer, I just wanted to express how fantastic a material the tendon actually is. So if you think, fatigue, which is what Maddie was talking about this morning from an engineering perspective, is applying a cyclic load, so you're applying load and load and load again all the time. And fatigue was really badly understood in engineering. It's one of the reasons why, for example, the Comet airline failed so spectacularly in the 1950s. It was the first jet airline that went up and down, and the cabin was pressurized and depressurized as a result of metal fatigue. The whole thing fell apart. So fatigue is a really powerful problem in mechanical structures, and the tendon somehow manages to carry loads which are very close to its failure load, Achilles in particular, thousands, millions of times without failing, and that's just amazing. And it's something that we really don't understand how the tissue manages to do that, and what's actually surprising is why more people don't have this problem. So that's my perspective.
And it's also really interesting if you take the Achilles mid-portion as an example. You have the tendinopathy changes mainly on the resting side, the less loaded side of the tendon, not on the most loaded side.
Studieforskning in Umeå, Sweden. From the science point of view, I have looked at numerous samples of chronic tendinopathy, both Achilles, patellar and plantaris, and I have never seen invasion of inflammatory cells within tendon tissue proper, never. But on the other hand, we have been intensifying the tendon that we have learned quite a lot, and it is the plantaris, and then we have been examining very much also the peritendinous tissue that is outside. And there is a lot of cells, including inflammatory cells. So it might be that we have neglected the huge existence of inflammatory cells outside. And it's also outside that we have the nerves, almost all of the nerves, and very many blood vessels. And it's, maybe Håkan can tell more about that, that is in this peritendinous region that most of the treatments that, as far as I know, are good nowadays.
Yeah, I think one of the things that's been a highlight for me from this conference is this separation of the tendon fascicles, the tendon fibroblasts and the interfascicular matrix, and how that might affect our concepts of tendinopathy. Because I think we've always talked about our classic tendon, but not many of us perhaps thought of the peritendon, but maybe we haven't thought enough about the endotendon. And what we know in pathology is that the endotendon completely disappears. So where the cells go, or how that role that it plays is played out in a tendinopathic